G'day, listeners, and welcome to another Scouting Australia podcast, powered by Australian Property Scout Buyers Agency. Jimmy!
I thought you were doing, what's his name? Good luck.
Good luck.
What's his name?
Liam Neeson.
I thought you were doing Liam Neeson. But it was a bit of a movie.
I haven't watched Liam Neeson in so long, I'm trying to remember. I have a particular set of skills. Nah, it's way off.
No, that was pretty good.
Oh, thank you.
That's pretty good.
Thank you.
Hello.
Jimmy, mate, we're in for the Q&A. What a start, mate. It's a late night. We're 7 episodes in today, guys. Not
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we had intentions for 7.
We had intentions for 7.
Yeah,
we're at 3. It's 6:30. Guys, we're here for another Q&A. Today's Scouting Australia podcast episode is powered by School of Property.
Oh, yes. Nice. I like it.
Thank
Mate,
you.
I love the...
It felt weird. Didn't feel right.
No, it didn't.
But you know what?
I love the Q&A one, Sammy, because it is all about the people, and I know you love the audience that you've built over many years. And these questions, people think these are not legit. You put a post up this morning asking people to write in their questions.
We're driving here. I did.
These are directly pulled from today.
So these are only from that?
Only from Instagram.
Beautiful. There we go.
We had to cut. There was about 180 questions.
I don't believe that. Are they good questions?
Minus 170.
Are they good questions?
They are. Are they good questions, Kelly? No, the producer does not like the
She
questions.
reckons they're shit.
Are you having a go at our listeners, Kelly?
Wow.
Jeez, take it up.
That was the first time she's ever actually answered a
She
question.
has.
Never. I am gone.
So we're going to try and keep this punchy because we know our listeners love it.
Well, then hurry up and get
quick
into it.
and
Let's
punchy.
go.
I'm going to start it off with good old Reese.
Okay.
Okay,
Reese.
the first question. Sammy, I
Reese.
have $1.5 million in cash.
Holy fuck, mate.
Reese. He doesn't have tattoos on the Gold Coast, does he?
Hey, fuck it, is he? You won't be able to get in next time you come up. How Reese be waiting for you.
Jeez, what is Reese doing, Kels? Do you know Reese? He's got a 1.5.
Mate, I thought this was supposed to be punchy.
No,
Now
but
you've turned high pitch. You've turned into Quiche Lorraine. Like, what's going on here?
He took me back. So Reese has
Took you back to what?
He's got
What did he take you back
He's
to?
got 1.5
Mr. Ibrahim?
sitting underneath his dog's kennel, and he's asking you,
American gangster.
Sam, should I buy multiple residential properties or go for a $3 to $4 million commercial banger?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, what do you think?
Banger.
What would you do if you had $1.5 million of, not pesos, legitimate Australian cash?
Pesos. Legitimate Australian cash. Is it in duffel bags?
Potentially.
Potentially,
Yeah,
okay,
he doesn't.
so-
They're hidden. You can't find them yet.
Okay.
Give him a week to find them.
All right, he's got to pull it all together. My simple question, first and foremost, is what else does he have in his portfolio?
Let's just say he's starting from scratch.
Okay, then definitely don't just start with commercial. Like commercial is great at a certain time in the portfolio. I mean, you could potentially carve off like 500 grand or 700 grand or something like that and go and put that into a commercial asset to inject a bit of cash flow immediately into the portfolio. But in reality, man, what we want to do is try and multiply that 1.5 mil or multiply, $800 to $1 million of that cash. We want to go put it out there into a marketplace that's going to actually see continued growth and see some equity increase from that perspective as well. So I would be looking to go put it out there in the marketplace, let it start to multiply. Yes, if you want to put a bit into a commercial banger to get a bit of cash flow in the portfolio early, but I'll be trying to get that capital into some good solid growth assets to multiply and start building an equity base even further. Well done on the 1.5 mil.
Does it depend if Reese has got a job? Because on the sounds of things,
Producer could have probably asked a couple of follow-up questions on this one. But
Reese
we'll just
might
go
not be
straight over this.
declaring a lot of this income. He might be. I don't know, but I'm just making a guess.
Okay.
So if he doesn't have income,
And that's why we don't have the whole picture. You know what I mean? So the strategic play around this whole thing, it could be very broad. He may not have a job. He may have a job. There's so many things, that literally of like, does he already have properties or is he purely 1.5 mil? What's the actual equation? My presumption is that he's maybe sold a primary residence or a couple of investments and he's starting again with 1.5 mil, something a little bit different to what you might have in your past. But that being said, I'm presuming starting from nothing. And so that's the answer that I'm giving off the back of that as well.
I think he's got a Lamborghini that he's trying to sell as well.
Hey, why are you so against Reese? I like Reese.
I like Reese too.
He sounds like a hustler.
Mate, I'm happy for. I wish I was Reese. All right, let's keep moving.
What's wrong with
Question number 2.
Hey, what a head.
Good old Dill. This might be Dill Cannelloni from the other week.
Cannelloni?
It might be.
The man himself.
Yes. Sammy, should I buy a unit now or wait 3 months, save more, and buy a house?
Okay. Interesting question. If in 3 months you legitimately could buy a house in that time frame, like if you were going to save enough, I don't know what he's selling in what sort of time frame for in 3 months to be able to go from a unit to a house. Maybe he's in business with Reese. I'm not sure. But that being said, if it was legitimately 3 months to get himself into a house, I probably would do the saving to get the house.
Okay.
If it's more like 6 to 12 months, like if it's 6 months plus, I would buy the unit.
Okay.
Right now, there are quite a few decent unit markets out there. As we know, Brisbane, Perth, Adelaide has had a pretty solid run over the last 12 to 24 months in the unit market. I personally can attest to that with a little unit that I had in bloody Logan that did nothing for like 3-4 years. I bought it in 2019, did nothing for 3-4 years, and I kind of went up maybe 100 grand that time frame. And then had a huge run over the last 2 years. I just sold it as well. So yeah, man, it can be. And literally, when I say huge run, I sold it. It tripled in the 5-6 years that I owned it as well. So the first 3-4 years did nothing. Last 24 months has had a massive spike. So yeah, man, if you select the correct growth location, you could definitely get a really good run off it. We're actually active in a couple of markets at the moment with that product. But yeah, man, just depends. If in 3 months you genuinely could buy a house, probably buy the house. If he wants to get in the market now, get a good quality asset now, get it moving. If it's going to be longer than 3 months, get the unit, man, and get the portfolio started.
Because he can refinance some of that money from that unit to get into a house in 6 months' time or so forth. Right?
Mr. Cannelloni, that is correct.
Yes. All right, moving on. Talia. Hello, Talia.
Lukey's wife.
Yeah, is it? Big Lukey juicing.
This is Lukey's dummy question.
Yeah, I think it is. Sammy, what are the differences when purchasing in SMSF compared to outside of SMSF?
There's plenty of differences. So there's a different way you have to structure it. So every set of every purchase you make needs to go through a level of structuring within an SMSF. So first of all, you have to have an SMSF entity to be able to obviously purchase initially. And also, without going too deep into anything to do with SMSF, and for everyone out there, if you're going to do anything in SMSF, go seek independent financial advice around SMSF and everything you do within it. If you were to buy something in SMSF directly, the only way to be able to buy it directly, you need to have cash to buy it directly under the SMSF. Otherwise, it has to be bought under a bear trust, which is the only entity within SMSF that can actually borrow money. Okay. So they're probably the key parameters around SMSF. In terms of differentials, like it's just different lenders, there's different lender pool that you're able to buy in through SMSF. Yeah, just pretty much like there's definitely differences. It's similar, but differences.
Okay. Different properties or similar?
Yeah, well, the other thing is like you got to remember you can't renovate or develop within SMSF as well. Very strict parameters around it. Very litigious space. That's monitored very closely. You get audited annually for your SMSF as well. So a lot of differences. But in reality, get your head all around it. Speak to your accountant. Speak to your financial advisor.
Okay.
If you've got access to School of Property, which Big Lukey Chusen does, so Talia can just go watch that. Then obviously watch the different lessons within the SMSF module there as well to give you a breakdown of the whole way that we see SMSF and how we structure it as well.
Thank you, Talia. So how do the kids? Vitor is written in.
Victor.
Yes. Are your loans interest only, Sammy? And do you also run them all at the highest LVR?
It's a very personal question. Victor.
Yeah, he wants to know.
What is Vittori's last name?
Castellucci.
Vittorio Castellucci from Sardinia. All right, my friend. I'll answer the question. About 10 of my properties are P&I. When I built on a lot of my granny flat sites back in probably 2022, 2023, when I built on a lot of those in 2022, I'm pretty sure it was, I refinanced a lot of my loans around to a 4-year interest-only term. 4-year P&I term that was in the really low 2s or maybe the mid 2s. So I refinanced like a heap of them over to that post-build completion. So I built on them.
When was that? In 2022?
2022.
Thanks for letting me know about that little tip. That's
great. Fine, mate. Was that the year that
you didn't tell me to
acquire?
do that. You didn't tell. You didn't even tell. What a dog. What a dog.
It was P&I.
Mate, 3% interest. I'd be happy with that.
All the loans you could do it at that time.
Yeah.
Was the same thing?
All right, go on.
Yep. Are you sure? Are you sure it's okay to go on?
Yep.
Because the structuring.
Are you sure it's okay to go on?
The way that I changed your creative lending to allow you to continue to be able to buy, it made more sense for you to do it at interest only.
That's true. Just checking if you knew.
And it was a very small differential as well. But for me, I was like, well, you know what? These are cash flow deals. And so for these cash flow deals that I wasn't planning to tap again, have you tapped said deals, James Luke Ibrahim?
I've tried to tap it as much as I can.
Yeah, you are a tappy little bastard. With me, I knew I wasn't going to tap those deals again. So I built on them. I then revalued them and refinanced the debt out, set them at P&I, and I thought, you know what? If all I do is let these deals run for the next, I think I set them on a 20-year P&I model at the really, really low interest rate. And yeah, man, I just locked them in and set them at that. And it was something like, it was 10 builds or something that I did in that year. And because of the net cash flow was so high from those deals, and I didn't really need the actual cash flow within the portfolio, especially at the time, because I also fixed a lot of my other loans interest only in the 2s as well, which you also should have got benefit of. But because I'd locked so many of those, I was like, well, you know what, if I can just pay these deals down over the next X amount of time, then that makes sense for me to lock them in. In reality, should I have done it? Or like, if I look back, would I do it again? I probably wouldn't have done it again. Simply because I know the power of just leveraging into more deals and just using that as a faster pay down, just leaving on interest only. So in all reality, I probably wouldn't have done that again if I could go back and do it again. But it worked for me at the time. It was fine. It didn't affect anything from a servicing perspective or anything as well. So, but that's it. I've got a few of my commercial deals on P&I as well. But I have a bit of a mix even between my commercial and my I have a bit of a mix in my commercial portfolio between interest only and P&I. And I just make it relevant to the asset that I'm buying and what I want to do with it.
Okay. Do you run them at a high LVR, like an 88% or?
No, when I was younger, I definitely did. So probably for my first 30 odd properties, I would have bought most of those at around about a 90 to 95% LVR. I wouldn't have bought anything in that time frame, barring a few purchases during COVID where I had to go in with higher deposits. There was a few of those that I had to run a little bit higher from that perspective, but pretty much everything else from there. Actually, I wonder if in COVID I did have to run in 2020. I had to run because I did lower, like the lowest tier of lending. I did run those at 80% actually. So probably my first 20 properties I ran at 90%. And then when I was in COVID, I was running really, really bad lenders just to get the money, because I need to get the money. I had the cash out, so I was doing 80% LVRs. But then I think I did go back to 90s for a period there. But I've been fortunate that like the way that I like to structure my portfolio when I have acquired and when I've gone on heavy acquisition pieces, a lot of my deals have had so much growth, especially in the early pieces of my portfolio, that I kept stripping a lot of those back up to 80% LVRs. And I used that to acquire a lot of my portfolio. And then as they had massive growth, I a lot of the time I just stripped the deposit back out of the deal and left the deals as is. So if I just pulled the deposit out, let's say I bought 10 properties in a year, and I pulled just the deposits back out for the following year, there's another 10 deals worth of deposits in there. Plus I farmed a lot of my early deals back out at say 80%. And a lot of that time that gave me some extra cash to go and do extra deals. And that's why some years I went into 10 and 20 and 30 purchases in a year. And so that's pretty much how I built it like that, man. But a lot of the time what I try and do is pull the equity purely pull the deposit back out of the deal, buy the next one. And that's a lot of time how I sort of just built it and kept my LVR quite low. And then now over the long term, my LVR is very low because of that strategy, not just purely equity farming the whole time.
Yeah. And just because you want a high LVR doesn't necessarily mean you will get that. The bank sometimes will say, no, we're only going to lend you 80%, right?
So a huge amount of what I did, almost all the purchases I've ever made have been at 80%, except for some commercial deals at lease stocks. Okay. So almost every purchase I make has been at 80%.
Okay. Moving on to the next question from Lucky. Sammy, I have high income and low capital. Is using your parents as guarantors a smart move? If so, how do I start the process? With my parents first, or do I go to the bank or a broker first?
So first things first, how long, like high income, how long would it take you to save your first deposit? That's the first thing to throw into the equation.
Let's just say it's at least 18 to 24 months.
Jesus. Well, for one, he can't be on that high income. It's going to take him that long to save his first deposit. So I think like high income would have been better to actually have a number to work off with that. Let's say it does take 18 to 24 months window. Let's say it's 12 plus months.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, 6 plus months. If you could get your parents on board to do a guarantor loan, at the same time, you start to pull your shit together and start saving money rather than blowing it, which it sounds like you're doing, Lockie.
He's buying off Reese.
Yeah, I think he is buying off Reese. Reese is reaping the benefits. Moving on. I would be bringing the parents into the equation if it's anything over 6 months. And yeah, man, I would be going through a savings process as hard as I could. So I'd tighten up the belt on everything that I could during that whole piece and during that whole process. If you can get your parents on board to help you with the acquisition of the first deal, with the sole intention of when that property has gone up enough in value, you could refinance them off it. So you effectively would just refinance them off it. It would eliminate their loan effectively against your property if that's the way it's being done. I'm presuming, yeah, if he's bridging the gap between between the two, then yeah, man, refinance them off. And then when you've had enough equity growth beyond that, then you could strip equity obviously out of that, plus any additional savings that he should have saved during that time frame as well, to then fund him into the next deals moving forward. But if you're on a good income and you don't have savings, start saving harder. And yeah, if you can get that guarantor loan in place first. To answer the second piece of the question, the conversation should be had with the parents first, just to check that they're okay and on board with it. And then if they're okay and on board with it, then yes, have a chat with the bank as well. And by the way, I don't say any of this in any way of like a talking down to Lockie around it. It's but it is quite simple of man, start doing your piece around this as well, of actually saving the money yourself. Yes, use the parents in this instance, but at the end of the day, being able to invest long term, having high income is one thing. Being diligent and having a bit of self-discipline around this thing as well, and starting to build the kitty and build the pool, it's going to enable you to start building a portfolio a lot more rapidly, a lot bigger, a lot faster, and everything else as well as being able to manage cash flows effectively. So I think it's important to know.
Okay, well done. That's a great answer. There you go, Lockie. Hope that was helpful. Moving on to Maddie. And he says, do either of you have financial advisors?
No.
Next.
Jimmy?
No, why not?
I mean, to be, in my personal opinion, and this is not in any way any sort of financial accounting advice of any kind for any sort of reason, I don't see the value in them personally. And that's not to say there aren't good ones out there, but they have it's a weird thing because they're the only people in Australia licensed to give you advice, and yet they can kind of have vested interest in terms of what they advise you into or towards, and I'm just not a fan of that. And so, yeah, man, I personally have never seen the value of it. And I know what I'm personally doing with my money, and I've seen the net results of that year on year. So I personally don't see the value within it. We always recommend people go and see a financial advisor before they make any investing decision, as you would have heard at the start of this podcast, specifically around things like structuring, around things like SMSF, all that sort of stuff.
But is that just legal compliance? Like, do you genuinely believe that?
I think everyone should take yes, compliance is a large piece of it, like, let's be honest. But I also think people should be very holistic in their view of investing and ensure that they don't just get hyped up on a podcast and then go to do it and they're actually scared shitless of doing something like that, and they're not willing to sort of, they haven't seen this sort of full picture.
Yep.
And so I think like there are a decent amount of people that should realistically, temp check it against someone like that to make sure there isn't something that's potentially a lower risk, avenue for them out there. Is that me? No.
Yeah.
Is that you? No. But at the end of the day, man, it's just like everyone's got it's horse for course for everyone. Everyone's got a different level of risk appetite. And so asking me, do I have one? It's actually completely irrelevant. And if you look at what I've done in the portfolio wise, like it's obvious that I haven't taken a low risk approach to anything in my life to do with investing. What about you, Jimmy?
Well, to be honest with you, I have engaged a financial advisor early days, right? And I think for people listening and for Maddie and anyone else contemplating this, I think you need to have the self-awareness to know where you're at with your own education. And if you don't have the time to get educated, or I think having a conversation at the very least, if you're very early in your piece, can't hurt. Right? At least you're doing something. Now, the reason why I used a financial advisor, because I didn't know enough information. And then I engaged the financial advisor. Did I get the value out of it? No. But it made me get hungry to learn more. And so the reason why I don't have a financial advisor is because I believe I can outperform what a financial advisor would give me. But that's only because I did the work to learn about it. So property, I sought someone who was doing it. I didn't care if you were a financial advisor or not, but you had the results in property. When it came to investing in shares previously, when I did listen to a financial advisor, compared to following someone who I trusted around shares, his whole business is, I want to educate you enough so that you can take charge of your money and not leave it to a financial advisor. So that was the reason for me not to use a financial advisor anymore. But if you're not going to do the work, then is that better than doing nothing? Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. You know what the thing is as well, man? Like, I'm sure there are some good financial advisors out there. Like, undoubtedly there would be some good ones out there. I've just never met them. I agree. I just have never met them.
No, I agree with you. I'm not a huge fan.
Yeah, I'm literally not saying that in a bad way. That's what I'm legitimately saying. There would be people who know how to invest. There's people who make probably a lot of money in business, or they've made a lot of money in different things that would hedge and put stuff with a financial advisor that probably actually is quite good. I just have never met them. I've been exposed to them from that side. You know what I mean? There's got to be someone good in that space.
If you are going to use a financial advisor, would you say the best thing you should ask them is, well, what are you doing? Like, I know you're telling me this advice, but can you tell me what are you doing in your own portfolio? What have you invested in? What results have you got personally? And I think that'll give you a good temp check as to whether or not they're good.
Yeah.
All right. There you go, Maddie. Moving on to James. What do you think will happen to the property market for the rest of 2025?
In 2025. My name's James Luke Ibrahim. 2025.
It's not that long to go.
Yeah, it's true. There's
So
not
what's
that long
gonna
to
happen?
go. What are we in? We're in September.
Yeah,
We're in
5.
September. Realistically, is this Cannelloni? No, who's this again?
No, James.
James. Okay, sweet. Is this your question?
No, it's Sherry.
I was wondering if it might have been James Sherry. I love him. Nah, we'll joke around. He's a good dude. I love James. James Sherry, not James Luke Ibrahim. Moving on and answering the question. I mean, we've only got 3 months left of the year. What's going to happen in the property market the rest of the year? I think the markets that are currently running will continue to run. There's certain markets that are going to heat up, keep doing their thing. The APS Summit and Boot Camp is going to go off its fucking head. And the APS Christmas Party is probably going to be heaps of fun as well. That's pretty much what I'm earmarking for the rest of 2025.
Are you going to get written up in news.com this year? Or can you please try and do so? Okay.
Someone's got to pick up the
I
mantle.
heard you were actually going to invite the journalist to the Christmas party.
to throw him overboard. Oh, wait, we're on a yacht.
We're on a cliff face.
We're on a cliff face. He might get thrown off that. Or accidentally jump.
So there you go. Markets will continue to run.
Yeah. What do you want to say? Less than 3 months left. Or we've got 3 months left of the year. Yeah, I think markets are going to continue to run. I think it's going to be interesting to watch how the new grants come into play and come into effect. I know there is a lot of heat in the market in a lot of different locations. Stock is still very, very tight. And I think it's going to be very interesting to watch what happens when the new, government grants and backing and all the rest of the stuff, what happens when that comes into effect and comes into play as well. So that is going to be an interesting thing to watch play out and unfold. I think it is going to continue to stimulate the market. I think it's only going to become harder and harder to get access to quality deals. Stock levels are still very tight. A lot of vendors are sort of sellers are really realizing properties are worth, a decent amount of money and holding out. And we're just seeing that continual lack of stock, almost everywhere. So man, it's going to be interesting to watch play out.
Okay.
And, I think the rest of this year is going to continue to heat up. I think it definitely will have a bit of a rocket put under its ass with what's happening with the grants and the stimulus and all the rest of the thing. But I think that'll take, the cause and effect of that will really come into effect next year.
Okay. David has continued on a similar vein.
Okay.
Sammy, how much growth do you think we are going to see here on the GC up until the Olympics in 2032?
Olympics. Okay. Interesting question. Because I kind of group GC and Brizzy together a little bit in this. I mean, they are obviously they are different markets entirely. But in my humble opinion, both are quite they've exceeded what would make sense from an affordability ratio and affordability cap in terms of the market. Do I think they'll continue to grow? Yes. Do I think they will continue to achieve massive results? No. I do think the market will continue in growth. Steady growth. I'm unsure in terms of how hard it's going to continue to push. There's been a lot of records set in a lot of different areas, and the market does still seem to be rising, especially in the GC. There's still a continued constraint on supply, and I think that's going to be the biggest factor in Southeast Queensland because of the infrastructure projects. I don't even think it's because of the drive of it's not the infrastructure projects that are having a direct effect in terms of heaps of people coming here for work and all the rest of it. It's the infrastructure projects taking all the builders and all the workers away from the residential projects that are actually coming to market. So there's a huge amount of devs that aren't being completed. They're being shelved. They're not even coming to market because they can't get builds done at the right price, or builders can't get enough trades to do it, or the builders are literally going to work on these projects as well because the amount of projects that are coming in line for that time. Now, that is going to create a continued undersupply in the market. I think that will continue to create a stress on the rental market, and it will continue an upward trajectory on prices as well. That being said, there is always a ceiling. And the ceiling is what people can realistically pay in an area. Now, you can push the ceiling to its absolute max, and I think the ceiling will get pushed, to its max until a point in time where a lot of these infrastructure projects finally get wrapped up. So, it realistically could run to 2032 and beyond. It's just the level of growth. That's the uncertain piece in the whole equation in terms of how long will it run and at what sort of level. And that's the piece we don't really know. We don't fully know from that perspective. So, yeah, man, I would say I believe the market is going to continue to climb. But yeah, it's uncertain in terms of how much it's going to climb.
Yep, fair enough. Okay. Nathan is asking, Sammy, I'm about to settle on a fully furnished property you found for me. What is your personal approach to fully furnished places? Do you get contents insurance or do you run the gauntlet and repost as unfurnished if anything untowards happens to the contents? That's an interesting one.
It is an interesting one, and I think it depends on where you're at and like what the location is. So a lot of locations, I'm presuming, like I kind of have a bit of a guess in terms of where this one is. Close to CBDs and like or in specific different areas where there is a demand for a fully furnished product. There's two sides here. We would never have paid a premium for a fully furnished product, right? We'd probably buffet in the budget to potentially clear out those assets and get rid of those assets. Assets being the furniture and all the rest of the sort of thing. So if there is a demand for that product and you will still be able to lease it quite quickly, like I know on the GC here, a lot of fully furnished homes get rented all the time, and some of them used to be Airbnbs, and then there is a demand for a fully furnished home. I rented 3 homes in the Gold Coast before I bought my home, and those 3 properties, man, of those 3 properties, 2 of them were fully furnished because they suited me because I didn't have that much stuff. And you're able to come in, it was fully furnished. I have staff coming up all the time. So yeah, man, it made sense for me to do that and go down that avenue. And there's a lot of places in around the country where those markets actually support fully furnished product. And again, when you look at properties here on the GC, heaps of them are fully furnished. Like it's very, very common to see fully furnished properties here on the GC. Now, I know he's not talking on the GC in terms of where it is, but how much demand is there in that area for a fully furnished product? Now, if the demand is quite high and he's going to be able to achieve a really good rental return on it, then and it won't take an excessive amount of time to rent, then rent it fully furnished. And myself, like I probably wouldn't have it covered under it. So tenants also have to look after it. It's the same as like wear and tear on a property. They can't just like trash it and turn like shit because your bond will cover that as well. And for me, like up here, I knew I actually had to pay a little bit extra bond sometimes for the fully furnished properties to cover that side of things as well. But again, it comes down to the demand on it. If the demand's there and you can lease it in a decent amount of time, I would do it. I personally wouldn't worry about doing the additional contents insurance, but maybe check with your accountant or something like that just to make 100% sure. Check with the property manager as well. And maybe check with the insurance company too. But then on the other side of that as well, if it isn't in that much demand, if it is going to take an extra month to rent out, if you're not going to get that much extra rent for it, I would probably throw it all on bloody, Gumtree or Marketplace or something like that. Clear it out, get rid of it all, get it bond cleaned, and then just rent it unfurnished. Okay. Because if it's going to take longer to lease and you're not going to get that much more for it, it's not worth the headache and the hassle of it to get an extra maybe $50 a week. But if it's a significant difference and there's demand for it, then it's worth the question.
So it's knowing the market.
It's knowing the market, and the PM's going to know that better than anyone.
Okay, perfect. Moving on to Marco. Sammy, should you get your property valued once it settles so you can work out the CGT when you eventually sell?
Sorry, can you say that one more time?
I
just want to make sure I heard this question correctly.
This is Marco driving.
Marco who?
Marco Cozzo.
Corzo.
Should you get your property valued once it settles so you can work out the capital gains tax when you eventually sell?
Why do you need to value it when it settles?
I don't know. That's what he's asking. Should you?
Okay. No. So when the property settles, I don't mean to laugh here, but when the property settles, like that is what you paid for it. And then when you sell, that is what you sold it for. CGT is worked out on the difference. It isn't worked out on, unless you have it as a primary residence and then you move out of it and then you get it valued and then you sell it at some point after that, because that does come into effect. But if you're just talking about when the property settles to get it revalued again, it got valued 4 weeks earlier when you bought it. You went under contract on it and the bank sent out the valuer to value the property before they lent you the money. So it's been valued in that period of time. But to be honest, that has absolutely nothing to do with it, because all the Australian government cares about, who is the ATO, who manages capital gains tax, is what you paid for it and what you sold for it. And any capital works in the middle, and any, your stamp duty on the way in, your sales costs on the way out, all the capital expenditure costs associated with it. That's all that they care about of in and out. That's it.
I think Marco's probably thinking if you bought it at a certain price, contract price, but it valued up real quick, then the difference of that value, you pay less capital gains tax. That's what he's probably thinking.
It's got nothing to do with it. Bank value has everything to do with a loan.
Correct. But I think that's what he's getting to.
Yeah, nothing. Okay. You could buy a property for $1 and it's worth $1 million. They're going off $1. They're taxing you based on the difference between $1 and whatever you sell.
The contract price. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Marco, there you go. Jacinta has written in.
Jacinta.
Don't think that's Italian, but we'll Well, she says, Sam,
She's married an Italian, and that's
she
how
has.
the Italians
Yes.
pronounce it.
What steps are APS taking to actively increase their female investor market share?
0.
Do you want me to read out the question again?
Okay. I think I heard it pretty clearly.
Go
for it.
What Jacinta's asking, what steps are APS taking to actively increase their female investor market share? So you're saying,
Mate, I don't do anything to increase the market share of anything. And I don't target men. I don't target women. We jump on a podcast and we talk about property.
so you're saying that there's nothing. So I suppose what Jacinta is probably saying is there needs to be more female investors. Is that, I mean, that's what we're.
I mean, you're making a lot of presumptions here about what Jacinta's asking the question for. But in all reality, man, like we invest in a certain way, and some females like that. And then some females, might be more drawn to a different buyer's agent or investment wealth company or whatever, who maybe are more female-driven or maybe more feminine male-driven or something like that. I don't really know. But, man, I don't pretend to be anyone or try and, what do you call it? Attract anyone in terms of an investor market type. We just invest, man. We invest the way that we invest, and some people like us, some people don't like us. Some men
What do you think?
Some men don't like us. Some women like us. Some women don't like us. It is what it is.
A lot of people don't like you, but
That's fine.
What
more don't like you?
she's basically, I think she's hinting at. We can make an assumption here that there's not as many female investors as male investors. Why do you think that's the case?
I mean, that's a very correct assumption because, like, if we look at the actual data and the stats behind it, that is the case.
Okay, why? Is it confidence? Is it they don't prioritize as much? Do you think? Is it not as important?
I mean, I think you're asking me to make presumptions here that I don't know the answers to.
We're just making.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but I don't want to offend any women at the same time with this. In all reality, men are more likely driven by, like, you have more men that are career driven, and you have more women that are probably family driven as well. And this is the thing, like, there's a lot of women that invest with their husband and their partner. And I know a lot of my mentoring clients and clients I've worked with for many, many years, the female has actually a lot of the time been the bigger driver, or the female has been the one to push the male into wanting to do it as well. So yeah, man, like we would have a massive percentage of females that are on the books and working with APS, but I'm not going to actively try and bring more presence of any type or any demographic of anyone to APS. People like the way we invest and the way that we want. People either like the way that we invest or they don't. And I'm fine with that, man. I'm fine with that if it was a 9-to-1 ratio of men to women or the other way around. I don't really care. It's who likes us and relates to us, and that's all that really matters. So I'm all for women investing, and we have a huge amount of female investors, like I said, on the books, whether it's solo or with partners or whatever as well. But I'm not doing anything to actively try and recruit more women to work with APS. The same as I'm not doing anything more to recruit more men to work with APS.
So it's very much self-driven, regardless, right? If you're hungry for it, whether you're a man, woman.
Yeah. I mean, we always talk about sending episodes on to a partner or to a friend or whatever it is. If people want other, whether it's girls want their friends or whatever to invest, they can definitely send these episodes on, and different episodes that might relate to them. We've got some really good investor episodes that are obviously females, and females, whether they're with the partners or, like, you think a little young Ella Woolcott as well. Back in her episode last year, 5 properties at 24, 5 properties in 2 years at 24. Super inspirational journey as well, man. And there's heaps of girls doing really, really well.
Maybe we can get Jacinta to write back in and say what does she think? Like what reasons does she think? I'm just curious. I mean, it would be great to get her view on this. And,
for sure.
The differences.
I mean, I think there's a few different podcasts with women out there as well, all around investing and whatnot too. But yeah, man, like they're probably trying to inspire and target, those style of girls thinking about doing it or wanting to do it or whatever. But at the end of the day, man, like I just love to invest, and we just invest, and I'm not trying to target one sector of the market or not, and trying to get more people either in or out or whatever. I don't really care. If people want to invest, I'm more happy to have them to invest.
All right. We're going to wrap up with a nice one for you, Sammy boy. This is from Tommy. He says, Sam,
Tommy Guns,
why is APS the best BA in Australia?
Tommy Guns.
Tommy Gunn is asking, why is APS the best? You keep saying APS is the best.
Do I?
Yes.
Well,
you use a bit more colourful language than that. You don't just say APS is the best. You throw a few hand grenades on the way through, a few There's a few machetes. There's a few. The arsenal is pretty heavy.
Yeah.
So why do you think? Well, if you were to pin it down to maybe 1 point.
Well, I don't think there is just 1 point.
Okay.
There's multiple points.
Give us 100. No. Well, give us 3 points.
Yeah,
Can you give us 3?
I'll give you your bullet points. I believe we buy better than anyone else, and I have a lot of visibility around a lot of different markets in Australia and what people pay. There's a few BAs I really respect in terms of who I used to compete with against back in the day, and I think their quality's turned to shit and they don't buy as well as they used to buy, whether it's through volume or lack of care or they've already made it or whatever. I'm very passionately driven about doing great deals and helping people execute on great deals to have in their portfolio to achieve a great result. So that's one piece of it. Like, I genuinely think we buy better than anyone else in the market. The company is run by someone who's done what 99.9% of all investors in Australia are trying to achieve, which I can't say for any other buyers agency in Australia that I know of. That's massive, because if someone knows or has walked the path that you're trying to walk, then they can actually genuinely show you how to then walk that path as well, because they've been through it. And there's not just a theory, it's a realistic result. And so that's a very different outcome. You are going to get a very different outcome because you're walking the path, being handheld by someone who's done what you are trying to do. You throw on top of that then the strategic piece, which falls perfectly in line with that, of, again, someone who's done what you want to do can then strategize your portfolio to build it in the same way and take you step by step, property by property, hand by hand, creative lending piece by creative lending piece, to then be able to grow your portfolio in the correct way and continue to grow and not get stuck, or get stuck as little as possible, because ultimately we all get stuck at a certain point, but to mitigate that and extend that and get yourself as far through as possible. And again, that comes from someone's strategic piece, whether it is from myself or someone else at Australian Property Scout, that can show you the light and show you the pathway through as well. I think they're pretty much the most predominant things. If you also throw in the fact, again, director-led business by someone who was also burnt by a buyer's agent. So it's very strong at my core to not burn anyone in the game. I don't have greed about me. I don't have crazy greed about me that I have to do every deal. We walk away from deals all the time. We would reject thousands of deals every single month that we get presented off market that we could do very easily, but we don't do because we don't believe in the property and we don't believe in the deal. So yeah, man, again, I think the easiest way to put it is it's a genuine investor-driven buyer's agency. The other side of things too, man, I don't really look at ourselves as a buyer's agency anymore. Yes, we are a buyer's agency, but like I genuinely see ourselves as like a proper like wealth creation company. It's not just like, oh yeah, a buyer's agency to me is someone just goes and buys someone property. Mate, we develop the whole strategy for someone. We try and stay in front of everything that we can in everything in the industry to make sure every single client wins as much as possible. We literally handhold everyone through their strategy the whole way through the execution piece. As we go through and we execute in the entire portfolio, we educate our investors on the whole way through as well. And so this is the thing, man, of like just going and buying someone our property is one thing. But you go buy them a property, you execute on the strategy that you've built and the education piece that you've built behind them as well. Well, now all of a sudden we actually have a realistic time frame, game plan, something to execute to actually get you to that roadblock. To the game plan, the end goal that you're really chasing. We formulate everything within it to actually enable you to get there. And then when you combine it with the actual execution piece to get there as well, it's not just like, I don't know, man, I don't just see it as a buyer's agency anymore. We don't just buy property. And yes, we could bring in-house things like brokerage and accounting and property management and conveyancing, all the rest of this sort of stuff. But it's just side shit. Like it's little side businesses, yes, that I could bolt on, and yes, APS could make more money out of it. But instead I refer to proven professionals that I know can deliver our clients the results and allow them to focus on that and help them with that. And we don't take any kickbacks or any commissions from that. I've always been super vocal and upfront and honest about that. I don't take kickbacks from people because they're not businesses I want to be able to be associated with taking a little 20% clip here like everyone in the industry wants to do. I just want to become as great as we can be at buying, continue to be as great as we can be at buying, combined with developing the best strategies in the game and educating all our investors as much as possible as well. That's all I'm worried about. As long as the brokers, the conveyancers, the accountants, PMs, as long as they can all execute to a high level, I'm happy with that. And that's where I just see they are still almost, I look at them as part of our company, even though they're not, but I look at them as part of our ecosystem. And we're all on this ride together, taking the clients together as well. And that's the biggest thing, man, is like, I got asked recently on the Both Sides podcast about like, why am I actually still doing this? Well, I don't need to be doing this. Or what still drives me, I think was actually the question. And again, it's not the money or the monetary gain or anything like that anymore. It's actually getting results for clients. Because I don't like, what's another $1 million in the bank account when you've bought everything that you've always wanted to own? It doesn't give you anything. It doesn't do anything. In all reality, it doesn't change anything. So for me, I look at it and I'm like, well, there's individuals in the business. APS is quite a large team now. I would call about 15 to 20 of the people in the business as good friends. 5 to 10 of those I would call close and best friends. And then, so man, like I could hang up the boots or just go to turn to greed and in 2 years in the business to the ground by just being done by greed and everything. But all those people that I would count, and I care a lot for everyone in the business from that perspective. I want to see all of them win. But there's like 15 to 20 that I'm genuinely close with. Where does their journey go after that? Where's the certainty after their journey with that? But if in a 10-year window of when I started APS or a little bit over, or even say 5 years from now when we hit 2030, how many of those guys and girls could I create something significant for in their life, right? That's just staff. What about then actually, man, think about this. Can you imagine in 2030, when we're on the stage in 2030 at the summit at the end of the year, and you have 500 people that you've retired standing on the stage, like replace their income? No one's done that. Who has ever done that? Talking about financial advisor before and everything, all the rest of it, man. It's like, who the fuck has actually ever done that? The answer is no one that I know of. So like this journey that we're on, this thing that we're trying to create, this vision that we genuinely have, it's not driven by greed in any way, shape or form whatsoever. And we're always reiterating and looking as much as we can at how do we improve this? How do we beat this? How can we actually get these investors on the stage? And man, this year, we're 9 months into the year, and since November last year, and so for the last 11 months, we've had our books closed for like 8 or 9 months of that 11 months because we're trying to make sure we can actually keep up with the guys that are returning clients that are building their portfolios. We want to make sure we're getting them on the stage as much as possible. That's our goal. That's our prerequisite, right? But like, man, no one's done that. And I just think when we do that, man, like, I don't know exactly what's going to happen after 2030. Obviously I'm going to wait, hit that goal, reset, and then go again. But no one's done that. So what's actually achievable and possible if we do it? And so, man, like, what makes us the best is just like, we actually give a fuck. You'll never see an ad for Australian Property Scout, ever. You never would have seen one. You'll never see one. We don't need it. Client base is deep enough. They trust us. We're building something so significant for those people, and we're so committed to it that, man, like, if anything, I almost see us potentially going down an avenue where we fully close our books off forever and we just work with a certain amount of clients to ensure that we get them on the stage in 2030. That's actually where a lot of APS vision is going at the moment, that may be what happens. Just literally select clients that we enjoy working with and make sure they hit that goal in that time frame. Hasn't been bedded down exactly as what we're doing, but we're literally in conversations about it at the moment. Because, man, that is our vision. That is what we want to do. And there's no other buyer's agency in the country that is actually committing to something like that or doing something like that and going to achieve something like that. We're going to achieve it. I know we're going to achieve it. But man, like, who's done that ever? No one. But what a legacy, man. What a legacy. People talk about their legacy of what they have after all the rest of the bullshit. Like, I've been approached to be bought by APS to be bought out before. Fuck else am I going to do? Mad. Sell it for 100 million. The fuck am I going to do 100 million? $1 million doesn't make a difference in bank account. What's 100 million going to do? Not that I've been offered 100 million, but you know what I mean? Like, that number wouldn't even do it for me. Because what else am I going to do? But this, man, this is something that you can actually chase. It's a vision. It's like I said, dude, it's a fucking legacy. Like, what in the modern day world leaves something like that? Nothing. Other than maybe winning a world title, winning a title in EPL or something like that. Like, you know what I mean? Other than that, what else? What else carries that weight, carries that legacy? Even that, man. People forget about that shit. You know what I mean? Like, who won the EPL 2 years ago? Fuck, who knows? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, man, it's just like something so different. And that's why, like, if anyone asks me the question about it, that's why I'm like, we're not a buyer's agency. We left being a buyer's agency fucking 2-3 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, don't even look at us in that space. That's why I laugh when we don't win BA of the year. It's like, motherfucker, no one's anywhere near us with what we're actually doing with other people. And I'll debate anyone in the fucking country about it. Let's go, motherfuckers. Let's go. Because no one's doing it. No one's committing to it. No one's literally got the vision to do what we're trying to do and what we are doing. And so that's why, man, that for me is like where my eyes are set. And like, what's the difference? There is no difference because no one else is on our level. No one's trying to do what we're trying to do. No one's doing what we're doing. So
that's pretty powerful stuff, Sammy. Tommy, he came in with a simple question and he got the full barrel shark cage experience. I
think it's a good question because it's like, what is the actual differentiator? There's no differentiator because they're not us. We're not the same.
It was a beautiful answer. And I think what it does show is the care that you have for something that's bigger than yourself and the clients and that legacy piece. I mean, that, it's powerful. How do you put a measure on that and the impact of how it's going to change people's lives? You can't. I mean, yes, you can measure it with the numbers of 500 and there might be more. And even if there is less, but the impact on those people's lives is astronomical. And I suppose you're right. It's not a buyer's agency business. It's definitely, I mean, it's helping you holistically with your whole financial independence, which is not buyer's agency. And the interesting thing is the flow-on effect to every other aspect of your life
100%.
would dramatically improve outside of your finances, your confidence in what you can do, your self-belief in what you can do, teaching your kids what's possible, them seeing you go through the journey. So, mate, I love it. I think you absolutely crushed that last question. The other 11 were so-so, but well done. That's Tommy. You got some gold there from the bull shark himself. And, with all these Q&As, we have a laugh and we love our listeners and, all of the clients that wrote in, we really do appreciate that.
We do really appreciate it.
And we always have a good laugh. We always try and picture who the client is.
You always got different ideas of like what someone looks like when they write in. But no, I think it's mad, man, and I think it's cool, obviously, to be able to deliver a bit of value. But in that last question, man, it kind of like, it's funny because people have been asking me lately, like, people have been worried that I'm hanging up the boots. Like, even people internally in the team been worried about hanging up the boots because of, what I've bought now and like what I've got, and do I still need to work? I haven't needed to work for 4 years, you know what I mean? But it's just like, it's something bigger now. That excites me because it's like, it's not about me anymore. It's about the staff and it's about the clients. And like, man, the amount of heart-to-hearts I would have had with staff in particular in the business that I care deeply about, because, man, this is what I love. Like, so many of the APS staff, man, are clients, ex-clients, and then current clients. 100%. You know what I mean? Like, they live and breathe this shit. They understand it. They bleed APS and investing. And, man, I just love it, bro, because we're all on that mission together. You know what I mean? There's no weak links. When there's weak links, I cut it out straight away if I ever see it, because, like, man, that's what we're so committed to it. And man, it's funny. I'm glad you asked the question. I'm glad you left it to the end because it's one of those things, mate. It's we're different from everyone else. You know what I mean? I'm proud of that. Like, I love that. And I know APS loves that.
Do you keep an eye on the competition at all?
No. Who's competition?
Just like if people are doing things different that you might be able to, or you're just trailblazing, not even put the blinkers on, not even looking at.
Man, I know what works, and I'm always trialing different things, different strategies. I've always got my ear to the ground, listening to different things, but I don't care what anyone else is doing from a buyer's agency perspective, because that's what they like to do. That they stay in their own lanes. I've muted most of them because I'm sick of seeing their ads. Man, we're just different. You know what I mean? And like, we do things our way, and it works, and that's all I care about. I laugh when people try and have a crack at me and they try and troll me, or they DM or they comment on posts and all the rest of it. It's like, mate, if you're a big enough personality, like if you're a big enough person to be warranted, let's fucking debate it, mate. I'll go anyone, but most of them have got 100 followers or something. It's just like, shut up, go back to the kennel, so it's, but I think in all reality, man, it's, man, I'm committed to this thing. I don't know why I'm still talking about it. I love this thing. I'm committed to this thing.
I love it.
And I'm so excited to like,
it goes to show the passion, Sammy. I mean, the leader.
Dude, I was on the phone with a client the other day explaining this. Because they were worried that at the end of this year that I was going to, hang up the boots or retire. And it was a mentoring client. And man, when I actually spoke about this and started talking about this, bro, I had goosebumps all up and down my arms and legs. Like, just as soon as I ripped into it, I started talking about it. Because it's, man, no one's done it, and I want to, if we could do something like this, man, it's just like how amazing would that be?
Yeah.
For everyone involved.
100%.
100%. You know what I mean?
And it's actually inspired a lot of the clients, because often when you get on the calls, people say, I want to be on stage in 2030.
Yeah.
I mean, that's such a great comment. I want to be on the stage too. How do I get on stage in 2030? So I love it. Well done, Sammy boy.
It'd be cool. I never really thought about. I reckon every year, following that, I reckon it will almost be like who else got retired in that year. I never really thought about that. But I reckon every year after that, because it'll be such a staggered amount of people who might miss 2030, but they might be, because they might, let's say they're starting now, unless they're starting in a really good position, it'll be hard to get there by 2030. Maybe every year there'll probably be a group that hits that stage that has hit that goal. And it's that'll be unreal.
Inductees.
Yeah,
the
maybe,
retiree
man. Yeah.
inductee. I love it. All right, Sammy boy. I think
Who knows where it goes?
we wanted 30 minutes fast. We've gone 50. The producer is
She's tired. She's
already
ready for
left.
a Costa Taco.
She's already left.
She's on the way to Costa's. She's ready for a couple of quesadillas.
I don't know how we're going to wrap this up. She's gone.
Okay, sweet. Guys, this may turn into a 24-hour podcast. But the last 23 hours.
Can we get
and 10
Costa
minutes of it-
Tacos delivered?
No, they don't deliver. You can't even book a table, man.
Ah, shit.
They're that in demand. They're
Bloody
the walking
hell.
kings.
All right.
Listeners, I hope you took some great value out of today's episode. I hope you had a laugh out of today's episode. I hope you took a bit of clarity around APS and what we're all about and why we say you to every other buyer's agent on the country. But until next week, guys, Jimmy, thanks so much for coming up.
Thanks,
We've
Jimmy.
done three today. And, mate, it was good to have you up, brother. You need to get a bit more sun tomorrow before you head home.
I do.
So that people
Well,
can
if
actually
we weren't
see
sitting
you.
in here all bloody day.
Mate, what a head. Listeners, thanks for tuning in. If you love today's episode, please send on to someone else you think could take some great value out of today's episode. If you haven't hit that 5-star button on your favorite listening platform, make sure you hit the 5-star review button. And if you haven't, hit the follow subscribe as well. Please make sure you hit the follow subscribe button so you get hit every time a new episode comes out. Until next week, guys, it's another Scouting Australia podcast.